The Huawei Mate 10 Pro, in my opinion, is the best looking Huawei phone yet. This titanium gray color with the reflective band highlighting the dual camera units looks pretty sweet. Huawei brought me to CES this year to live stream the launch of the Mate 10 Pro over on my Facebook and show the world the outside of their phone. Now it's time to show off the insides of the Mate 10 Pro here on YouTube. Let's get started. The exterior of the phone is rather exquisite, but as we know, true beauty lies on the inside, and it's time to open her up. Getting inside the Huawei Mate 10 Pro is pretty similar to other water-resistant, glass-backed phones. Heat is our best friend, along with a strong suction cup and some pry tools. My metal pry tool does the initial penetration, and then the paper business cards slip underneath to slice the remaining adhesive while wrapping around the curve of that 3D glass. I'm being careful not to put too much pressure or stress on the glass. I don't want to damage anything. As the waterproofing cools down, it'll harden back up and grip the glass even tighter. So I'll keep warming it up until the adhesive is cut all the way around the outside of the glass. The fingerprint scanner is still attached to the back glass panel and still plugged into the phone. There is some super thin foam under that glass to keep some separation between the back panel and the battery. Normally at this point I like to unplug the battery, but we still don't have access to that particular plug. So I'll remove this upper protective panel with its 8 screws and set that off to the side. This metal panel has the LED camera flash built in, which is kinda cool. Now that the covering is removed, we have access to the battery plug, which I'll unsnap first, followed by the fingerprint scanner ribbon, both unsnapping like little Legos. I'll set that rear glass panel off to the side. I might be able to make this clear in a future video, but those aluminum protective plates would still be blocking most of the internal circuits from view, so we'll have to see what happens. I'll unsnap the large charging port ribbon and make my way down to the bottom protective plate with its 6 screws. It was nice of Huawei to use the standard Phillips head screws inside their phone and not go invent some proprietary screws of their own. The metal protective plate pops off nicely, along with both the white antenna wires and the loudspeaker Lego style connector. Once those are all off, the whole charging port contraption can be removed from the phone, exposing some pretty cool things. We have the circular vibration motor and a rubber band around the USB-C charging port. That rubber helps keep liquids from ingressing through the port into the sensitive electronics. One cool thing that Huawei mentioned during their live stream was that the Huawei Mate 10 Pro can have 58% of its 4000 mAh battery supercharge in just 30 minutes, which means that the Mate 10 Pro charges 50% faster than the iPhone X. And that gets a thumbs up from me. There are watertight screens over the microphone holes in this phone, and if we pop out the loudspeaker, we find another watertight screen over the larger hole. The Huawei Mate 10 Pro is IP67 water resistant. Now the battery itself is a massive 4000 mAh capacity, blowing the iPhone X and larger Note 8 out of the water. There are no magical pull tabs under the battery though, and this is one of the hardest batteries I've had to remove in a long time, which is kind of unfortunate since the battery does need to be removed in order to replace a cracked screen, which I'll explain in a second. Bending or puncturing that battery would be pretty dangerous. Magical pull tabs would have made a good addition to the construction. This long display ribbon cable is for the screen, so I'm taking special care not to damage this during the battery removal. The next cool thing to look at are the large aperture dual f.16 cameras. To get access to these, the motherboard needs to come out of the aluminum frame. I'll unclip those extra wire cables, I'll unsnap the front-facing camera, and then lift the whole motherboard from the phone. The frame is pretty cool. You can still see the mill markings from the machine that carved this frame from a single block of aluminum. If Huawei's watching this, I want to come film that aluminum carving machine as soon as possible. The motherboard has that SIM card tray housing and 2 splotches of thermal paste to help transfer the heat from the chipset to the frame of the phone. Aluminum, while not quite as good as copper, still ranks pretty high with thermal conductivity when compared with other metals. A lot of computer heatsinks are made from aluminum, and Huawei is multitasking the aluminum frame of their phone to cool their processors. The dual cameras are built into one housing. The bottom lens is a 12 megapixel optically stabilized color lens, while the top is a 20 megapixel monochrome sensor. Both have an f1.6 aperture. Now for a screen replacement like we've seen on other phones, this screen is glued into the frame and will most likely not survive if I try to remove it. A new screen would just feed the new cable through the frame and sit right back in the old spot. Pretty straightforward. Hopefully it all works when I put it back together. We'll find out quick enough. I'll tuck the motherboard back into the aluminum frame and clip the front-facing camera down along with the volume ribbon, center screen ribbon cable, and the 2 white wire cables off to the side. Then I'll jump down to the bottom loudspeaker, charging port, and take special care to feed that loudspeaker connection in between the charging port ribbon legs so it plugs in nicely. The 2 little white wire cables get plugged in, and the metal protective plate gets screwed in over top. with the 6 Phillips head screws for that bottom panel. Before the top metal plate can go on, I'll connect the charging port ribbon and the fingerprint scanning ribbon. The last thing I want to plug in is the battery. The metal plate can go down over top with its 8 Phillips head screws, and the back glass panel will probably need new double-sided tape to hold it in place. Replacement backs usually come with this pre-installed. I'll try and leave some links down in the video description. I'm pretty excited for this phone. It seems like it has a solid build, a good price, and pretty impressive specs. It'll be interesting to see how this handles the durability test when I get my hands on a retail box, and huge thanks to Huawei for letting me show that the inside of their phone looks just as good as the outside. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.